But also, I just want to do before we continue because we're also going to talk about honorable mentions
Oh yeah.
after or during. So just to let you guys
After.
know after. But a quick thing with that, there was actually supposed to be a fifth face on Mount Rushmore. People don't know that. It was a man named Ben Black Elk. He was actually a Native American. He actually was given that title because he actually made Mount Rushmore the way it is by taking care of the whole forestry, the entire land. So he is known as the fifth face of Mount Rushmore. That's what I'm saying. There's also should be like a fifth face on Mount Rushmore as well. A little history, okay?
Hey, Vince, very, very good nugget, my friend.
I got you, baby.
All right.
I got you.
Oh, I love that intro. I love that intro. And welcome back to episode number 2. A word on the street. Replace the E's with 3s. The 3 in front of your camera right now is Kyle Montgomery, the voice, Bas Rozendaal, the mountain, the energy, Vince Chang. Look, guys, I couldn't wait. I've been waiting all week for this episode because today, ladies and gentlemen, we are talking about the Mount Rushmore of 3x3 in men's and women's 3x3, as well as GOAT, most prolific scorer, best defender, most underrated, and we're going to get to a couple of those fan comments and questions from last week's episode. Before we get into it, because we're going to go to war in this episode, guys. How y'all feeling? Did you have a good week? Are you ready?
Man, I'm actually a little bit nervous. I've been chomping at the bits to get this started. I've done my prep. I've done my research. But I know I'm going to have to come with some strong arguments to take you guys away from whatever you think the Mount Rushmore is.
I'm in the same world. I mean, we're going to talk about what the Mount Rushmore is. I mean, the best, the people who created it, the foundation. But just as Boz said, now he became a real stat guy. I was going by stats too, but we're going to break down. Sometimes it's difficult when you don't got the numbers at hand, so it's the eye test.
All right, buckle up, y'all. Get ready. This is Word on the Streets. Here we go. All right, gentlemen. Mount Rushmore of 3x3. For those of you who aren't familiar with the history of the game, we have an historian, Bas Rozendaal. Bas, you want to give a quick rundown about the history of the game before we get into the Mount Rushmore?
Yeah, obviously, straight ball's been around for a long time, but let's just straight up talk 3x3, right? 2010, the inauguration at the Youth Olympic Games. 2012, we started our World Tour, the pro circuit on the men's side, as well as the World Cups. Used to be every 2 years back then, but it's every year now. 2019, we added the women's series, and in 2020, which ended up being 2021, we became an Olympic sport. So I think that is where all the magic happens now. We obviously have some more zone cups I didn't discuss. AmeriCup's been around for a couple years. Asia Cup and Africa Cup have also been around for a couple years. That's where all the action takes place.
Yeah, so that's the basis of how we're going to be judging players and whether or not they deserve a face on the Mount Rushmore, whether they deserve to be called GOAT, greatest scorer, etc., etc. Some people aren't familiar, though, with what the whole concept of Mount Rushmore is. Of course, it's very American. So for those of you who do not know what Mount Rushmore is, it is a 60-foot tall granite sculpture of 4 presidents' faces who left an indelible mark on the growth of the United States. So you can find it in South Dakota. It has Thomas Jefferson, George Washington, Theodore Roosevelt, and Abraham Lincoln, chosen to kind of represent the nation's birth, growth, development, and preservation. So as that relates to 3x3, we are picking the 4 foremost faces that have had the biggest impact on the game in the men's and women's 3x3 leagues. So we will alternate. We'll go one man, one woman. Who wants to go first?
Ooh, I mean,
Should I? Because I'll take it.
I'm
trying to be courteous now. Come on.
Being courteous, but because we already know what you're gonna say, but I just want to get them out the way. Okay, and not get out the way, no disrespect. If you don't mind, Bas.
Just one though. Just one though.
Go ahead.
Just
All
one.
right.
Just one.
So just to set the rules, right? We're going one by one. Shouldn't we check if we agree on a bunch of them?
But we probably will.
Yeah.
We probably will. That's what I'm
you know
saying.
What? Okay, so Bas he threw in an audible there. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that. Roll off your four, and then we'll see if we disagree.
Vince, you
Oh,
want to
so
start this?
so you want to roll all of them off or just one by one? Now this is what we gotta find out because this is gonna be interesting.
Okay, start with the women. Give me your
Okay,
four.
give me the four at the four. Okay, all right. Woo, Baj, you can go first because you watch the women's more than me.
All right, cool. Cool. Look, all right.
I love y'all though.
So to me it's very easy. So headlining the squad, I got the twins, the Plouffe sisters from Canada. Both of them very prolific scorers. They've won at almost every level in women's series, as well as second at the World Cup. Got some medals. Say won the America Cup a couple times. So I got the Plouffe sisters. I want to add Sandra Igravide because of her longevity in the game. The run at the Olympics they made, the second place this time. I know that she hasn't won as many women's series, I think, as the Plouffe sisters, for instance, and as my last pick. But I do think her body of work in, especially the Europe Cup, and obviously her game. I mean, look at the way she plays, man. She's just a cool player. She's a player I would want to be if I was a young girl. I'm not, but if I was a young girl, I'd want to be Sandra Igravide. And then lastly, and I think that's a combined body of work. I have to give it to Leticia Guapo. She has won a lot of women's series, is a World Cup win under her belt, Zone Cup wins under her belt. The Olympics didn't go as she planned, but still, she is at the top of that list for me, or on top of at least the list on the women's end as far as top four players.
Okay, all right. Look, I don't think that's too controversial. Go ahead, Vince.
That's nice, but also I just want to do before we continue because we're also going to talk about honorable mentions after or during. So just let you guys know after. But a quick thing with that, there was actually supposed to be a fifth face on Mount Rushmore. People don't know that. It was a man named Ben Black Elk. He was actually a Native American. He actually was given that title because he actually made Mount Rushmore the way it is by taking care of the whole forestry, the entire land. So he is known as the fifth face of Mount Rushmore. That's what I'm saying. There's also should be like a fifth face in our Mount Rushmore as well. A little history, okay?
Hey, Vince, very, very good nugget, my friend.
I got you, baby.
All right.
I got you.
But you still don't get to do five. You still don't get to do five. Don't stick with four.
All right. So I'm not gonna lie. Sandra Igravide, I think, is the number one. She's a staple. The longevity, what she's done to the game, how she's fought through. I mean, she also has a couple, like you said, a couple of gold medals, a couple of MVPs on their belt. She, to me, that started that whole how tough you can play in this league with the women's series. The Plouffe sisters. Oh, man, I would give it to Michelle first, and I could break that down. 3 MVPs in 2019, MVP of the America Cup in 2022, with 2 other Women's Series MVPs and the MVP final, going to also the World Cup, being part of that tournament, led that year in assists. So we're not just talking about how prolific she's a scorer is, she actually led in 2022 in assists throughout the entire Women's Series. 2023, again, 3 MVPs. The finals, Ubatar tears her ACL, goes to the Olympics, and actually the first game of the Women's Series coming in, knocks down another MVP. Michelle Plouffe, there's it. With Kat, I was going back and forth. I was fighting. I thought they both, but I'm just going to throw something in there. Next one, I'm going to say Sonia Greiniker. Sonia Greiniker. Sonny G. And I'm going to break it down. 2021 Women's Series Final does a thing, becomes also another winner in concert and gets a silver medal in the Europe Cup. All right. She gets MVP in about 2 of those tournaments as well, and was the number 1 player in the world when it comes to player value and rebounds in 2021. 2022, back-to-back MVPs in the opener and also in Poitiers. And also in that opener in Tel Aviv was a 3-woman team. Still killed it. And it was a strong tournament as well. Then number 2 in the world behind Michelle, which again, that's why I gave her, she's on the Mount Rushmore, but also led in attempts for one-pointers and makes and rebounds. Then also 2024, even that little gap in 2023, 2024, she's MVP of the Olympics. We know that she's MVP of the Olympics, okay? Comes back with a broken wing, has a gold medal. Again, we could talk about the women's series that happened in 2021 technically, but Sonia Greiniker deserves to be up on that Mount Rushmore when it comes to my opinion. And now, talking about the foundation, Okay.
Oh, here's
Oh
your fifth pick because you already picked four.
no, I
No.
know. I said took off Cat. I took
He,
off
he
Cat.
went.
all
He
right.
went with Michelle. And he went
All right.
with Sonya. So
Okay.
far.
Sonya and Sandra. I got three. I'm keeping my word. Oh, this one is so hard for me. It's so hard because one,
Pause.
I think. Pause. You're right. God, oh man, it's so difficult. It's so difficult. Oh my God, it's so difficult. Because I think this player set the tone for all the builds after this. Because as you know, height is a key factor in 3x3, and when it comes to the women's series, it's even bigger. And you gave this to her when you had a rest in peace to the great Corey Williams,
Yeah.
a homicide.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it to Ray. Ray D'Elia. I'm gonna give it to her.
Ray Lindelia.
Ray,
Okay.
I'm Ray.
No, that's controversial, but go ahead.
That's kind of, but I'm just gonna say she led in the most in 2019, but also her size inspired players like Mai Yamamoto, Lily Wang on how crafty she was on the court. All right, like the way she was able to control a game is amazing, and she was still a defensive prowess even toward other bigger players. She'll be scrappy. That's what you see in Casey Bosch, the way she plays. You know, I like Lene Harper again, one of the best like American female players out there. Shout out to Sarah Burdick, but Lene Harper. But I think Ray started that, and then someone looked at that game and went, okay, we can still do this. No matter the size, I can still ball. So it may be controversial, but I'm gonna still put Ray on there.
Right.
And she has the rap of 3x3. Come on,
Shout out to Ray. Shout out to Ray. All right, well, who's your last one?
Okay, no, we
That's it.
already had it. That's Sandra, Michelle, Sonya, and Ray.
Oh, okay, that's it. Okay, good for Vince.
Yeah.
I can't disagree. I'm with you, Vince. I thought about Catherine Plouffe as well because I think that she's deserving. I think both of them deserve spots.
Yeah.
But if I compare sister to sister and their bodies of work, Michelle has been the more dominant player from the moment that they began playing 3x3. I think that Kat is playing better 3x3 currently, right now. She's the MVP of that Canadian team. But Mount Rushmore, it's got to start with Michelle Plouffe. I think that she is the most dynamic women's player we've ever seen. 6'3", can take you off the dribble, can step beyond the 2-point arc, knock it down at a consistent rate. She's a good passer, a good defender as well. She's got everything that you would look for as a prototypical 3x3 player. Size, speed, skill. Michelle Plouffe is on there. Next, I got to go with Scary Sandra. Igedavide. Look, dynamic, offensive, just firecracker. Just will light you up from long range. Also a great passer. But I think what stands out most for her, she is a great teammate. You hardly ever see Sandra Igedavide out of character. They've gone through so many ebbs and flows throughout the years with Spain. So many times where you would thought that team would have quit. And somehow they managed to rally, come together, obviously winning a silver medal at the Olympics this year, Women's Series MVP. So she's got the accolades to, deserve a spot on the Mount Rushmore. Leticia Guapo, who's won more Women's Series events than France, behind Leticia Guapo. La Guapa. I mean, no question about it. World champion, European champion, Women's Series champion. I can't even keep count of the MVPs that she's had. She's been one of the most difficult players to guard off the dribble. One of the best slashers in women's 3x3 ever to play. And a mainstay on the French teams, whether it be in the Women's Series, whether it be in the national competition, the Zone Cups, the World Cup, et cetera, et cetera. Got to put La Guapa on there. This last spot, though, and I think I may change it. I think I may change it on the fly.
All right.
Because I'll tell you who I had penciled in here.
Okay.
I was going to go with Sunny G. I was going to say Sonia Greiner was going to be on the Mount Rushmore. But
Okay, what you doing?
I think that we have to give a young lady by the name of Jiating Zhang
I have it.
credit.
I have it.
You got to put Jiating Zhang on that Mount Rushmore. Who's been more dominant outside of maybe Michelle Plouffe than Jiating Zhang in women's 3x3? Do we have does Dushan have a cricket sound? Can he press the board? Listen, nobody. 6'5", 6'5". Bas, she was scoring you in the post. Okay.
Oh my goodness.
Listen. No. Okay, maybe that's too far. Bas, but Jiating Zhang, I mean, automatic certified bucket in the post. So difficult to score over the way that she protects the rim, and she's played the game longer than Sunny G. So I'm going to give her the nod because she's got the tenure, and bronze medalist at the Olympics with China, has also been so dominant on the women's series as well. I mean, the eye test, just as from hooper to hooper, when I see her play, I say that woman can straight up ball. And she's done it for a long time. She's got it. Okay, so those are my 4. Can I start with some honorable mentions since I'm already talking?
Yeah,
can we react first? Like,
okay, react.
Please.
Okay, react, Bob.
Please.
Go ahead, react.
So first of all, let me set the stage here as I think this was a very difficult exercise, right? I spent multiple days going through these lists, and to me, like, I mean, again, all the names that we mentioned deserve to be in this discussion, right? All of them have flaws in their resume, though. If you look at the Plouffe sisters, they just haven't had the international success, mainly at the World Cup, that you would like them to have, right? Canada, to me, is a team that should have won a World Cup already. They only have that 1 second place to come home with. And that's not to discount the America Cup at all, but I think the World Cup sets the bar for international competition on the women's end. Women's series, mind you, flawless. Then, you go to Igravide, who's had Zone Cup success. The Europe Cup's been hers multiple times. World Cup doesn't even have a medal. Now she has that silver at the Paris Olympic Games, but only has 5 women's series
she
titles.
does have a medal. She has a medal at the Europe Cup in 2021.
So she has multiple. She has multiple Europe Cup medals, but no World Cup medal.
World Cup, you're right, World Cup.
And then I got to disagree with you really quick, boss. Listen.
Why?
Throw the World Cup aside if somebody wins an Olympic medal. Okay? Right. There is not a competition bigger than the Olympics. I'm not going to take anything away from somebody because they may not have a World Cup medal if they got it done at the Olympics. That's what I would
Kyle,
say.
And this is a good discussion, boss, because now also as Canada's flaw, they should have an Olympic medal, but they could not close it out. With the Canada's women. That's another thing. They have World Cup medals. That's why I was back and forth of putting Cat on there because they should have won that game. But then they lost to USA. Shout out to USA, but that was their medal to get. But continue, boss.
I'm just saying, like, so I think everybody that you can speak on has some flaws in their resume. I like Jiting Zhang a lot, but is she now the best player on the China team? Mingling Chen is. Li Li Wang is. Jiting Zhang's not even the best player on her team sometimes.
Well, yeah, she's gotten a little older now. So the youth kind of. I'm not saying she's old, but she's older now, right?
Asian don't raise him, baby. No. He stretches every day. She stretches every day.
That's a clippable, and I didn't say it. Okay. No, I think it's going to be interesting what people say and how they respond. To the Mount Rushmore. Those are the 4 preeminent faces that each of us selected. Let us know what y'all think. But we'd be remiss not to mention some other greats. I would say honorable mentions, first ballot Hall of Famers. I wrote these down, guys, so just bear with me. I'm going to start with, since I didn't pick Sunny G, I got to go with Sunny G. First ballot Hall of Famer. Sierra Burdick of the American team. Aitana Cuevas Mediavilla. Vega Jimeno of Team Spain. Anastasia Logunova of Team Russia. Okay. Silver medalist at the Olympics in 2020. European and world champion as well. How about Medjesi, the magician of Team Hungary? Come on, you got to go with Medjesi. Marie-Ève Paget of Team France. Okay. And that's where my list ends. First ballot.
You're forgetting one.
Who?
Look, she may have had a shorter career on the French national team than Guapo, but Mia Touré was a bucket.
Oh yeah. I was
Mia Touré was a bucket.
You missed. I was going to say it. I was going to say it.
And you cannot forget about that. Look, I know she stopped playing after the 21 Olympics, and so her stats they don't compare to Guapo's, but she was a problem. Problem.
Bas.
Well, we have a category, Bas, that I had her in.
Oh, sorry.
But you're right. You're right. She also deserves to be considered a first ballot. Good one. Good one. Yeah.
Filet mignon. That's what she
Filet
was. Filet
mignon. That's
mignon.
right.
Like that's what she was. Kyle, I
Yeah.
gotta say, I was agreeing everything. I had Sierra Burdick right here. I have Miss Cuevas is there. Zhang as well. I still want to give Lene Harper, her credit. Don't.
Yo, get the man a drink. Get the man a drink.
Just want to
Man,
give her an honorable mention.
I'm gonna need
Just
an
wanna give her-
alcoholic drink listening to Vince,
I
man.
want to give her an honorable mention. She was always right beside Sierra Burdick when they won the World Championship in 2023, and also when she was on the team in 2014. She started in 2016, and the way she plays on America's side, I think, also was in that line of inspiring more women to play American 3x3. But then you have the WNBA players. I'll be like Cameron Brink, come on, Alicia Gray. So. I watched her so many times. I just want to give her a quick shout out for Lene Harper.
I like Chi-Town stand up. Lene Harper is a straight dog, crossing people's ankles off. But she wasn't on that 2014 World Championship team with Sierra, was she?
No, Sierra Burke was on. Yeah, no. She was on in 2023.
No.
2023.
Her time in 3x3 was too inconsistent. She did.
I'm sorry,
right.
I cut you off.
Go ahead.
I exactly said it because I think if she had more game, she can truly show who she is. As I said, the eye test. I want to give her an honorable mention because we keep talking about these gaps, and it's very hard for USA to get in line these tournaments sometimes. I just think if she was playing more, she would be in this argument like 100%. That's why it's an honorable mention. I'm not putting her on the Mount Rushmore, but I just want to put that honorable mention because she's one of the players I think will be better over time.
All right, so is that all your honorable mentions? Just two of them?
That's about it. Just want to shout you out.
I'm messing with you, bro.
I got one or two other people that I looked into, right? And I'm not saying they should be honorable mentions, but I looked into Nathalie van den Adel, the Dutchess, because she dragged her team to at least 2 medals that I can remember. The Europe Cup in 2018, and I think the Europe Cup in 22, Lois. But then again, I'm countering myself with saying is Lois the best player on her team? And I don't think she ever was. She's the longest tenured player on the Dutch team. So I looked into them. Like I said, Touré, I did some digging. But the one thing that I want to mention is, and you briefly touched on her, Anastasia Logunova was incredible. By the way, and again, I was at the tournaments that she played in, and that Russian team was undeniable. Like, they were so good. The only team I think in the Tokyo Olympics that had any shot of getting close to the USA team, and look, honestly, they played as the ROC again in the Olympics. They played as Russia in a couple of World Cups, a couple of Zone Cups that she all won medals in, and 3 out of 4 tournaments she placed first. And she was a problem in the post. She was big. She could shoot it as well. She could play make a little bit. So I think that's one of the better honorable mentions. She was actually, I think, 5th on my list, man. And just to counter what you guys were saying with Kat and Michelle, like, I understand, like, Michelle's the more prolific scorer. I can't deny winning 3 out of 5 seasons on the Women's Series, picking up 14 Women's Series events, wins.
Yeah.
And sure, the Paris Olympics didn't go as they planned, right? And sure, Michelle might be a better scorer or more prolific scorer at times, but the stats really don't differ all that much.
No, they don't.
No, they don't. They're both about 6 and 6 a game. 6.5, 6.5, both of them. Yeah. True.
So I have to put Kat in there as well, man.
No, okay. That's a discussion about this, and I just want to say shout out to the king, and I'm gonna give the Mufasa, because 4 years ago we mentioned at the beginning thing, Homicide. You and Corey had a great debate on the GOATs, and this was you said Anastasia, yep. Ray, Marie, and Miss Cuevas. So it's changed, but it shows that the game is evolving and people are getting better and gotta get more accolades.
Yes, at that time we were a little bit closer to Ray winning the World Cup in 18 and MVP, and it was Ray mania at that time. So it was, I was kind of a prisoner of the moment. But big picture, I like the picks. We can keep going with the women's category. We can go to some more individual awards, or we can get straight over to the men's.
That's to the men's.
All right.
To the men's. Oh,
we'll do the individual awards. We'll do them after. I mean,
okay. All right.
Okay.
All right, so we're gonna get over to the men's Mount Rushmore, the four faces that shape the game of 3x3. Look at everybody getting their shoulders loose, getting ready. All right, I'm gonna take the lead on this one. I'm gonna get us started, guys. The Mount Rushmore in the men's 3x3 World Tour has to start with none other than Dushan Bullet, Mr. Bulletproof. Okay. We can have the GOAT discussion later in this podcast, which we will, and I'm sure it's gonna get heated. It's gonna get heated, but it starts there. Three-time European champ, won the World Tour final 4 times. I think he also won 4 world championships as a member of Serbia, an Olympic bronze medal, 2-time regular season MVP. This dude set the stage of what the game was about. He brought popularity to 3x3. He certainly has that kind of Jordan impact as relates to our game. So I think it starts there. And then you quickly go over to another guy who also is in consideration to be the bad. Okay. It is Mr. String Music himself, Dejan Majstorovic, the maestro. Winningest player to ever play 3x3. He's made the most 2-point shots. He's the all-time leading scorer. He's the most decorated player. He's won more regular season Masters. The list of his accolades goes on and on and on. So he's number 2. There's no debate there. The next 2 spots, though, I think might be debatable. We'll see what y'all got to say. But I got to go with the next 2 greatest players I ever saw play the game. That is Norris, the Maze, Robin, Miezis. Okay.
Okay.
You want to talk about when you look at the league, you look at Kyrie Irving, I'm talking about in terms of skill with the ball. They got that thing on a yo-yo string that, you risking some major embarrassment just by trying to defend a cat like that. Yeah. Big shot making ability, late games, no time, impossible. Norris Miezis has been that man. You understand? Robin is supposed to be Batman's sidekick, but 2 superheroes on that team. So I go with Norris Miezis. I think he's maybe number 3 all-time greatest. And then Batman, and then Carlos Lasmanis. Oh, look at Bas's face. Bas, argue with me if you want to. Carlos Lasmanis. No, that's my 4th face. And then you can get in. Carlos Lasmanis in his prime was absolutely uncontainable. 6'6", big shoulders, a brute in the post, defensively and offensively. He was dunking on fools early in his career, left and right, European champion, regular season MVP, World Tour final winner, Olympic gold medalist and MVP. And I don't even think he's 32 years old yet. He's accomplished so much in a short span of time. So for me, the measurables, his skill set, also with the accomplishments that he's been able to put together in his career. To me, those are the first 4 names and faces that have to be sculpted into the mountain of Mount Rushmore 3x3. Don't even try to argue with me. It's a futile effort.
Oh my goodness.
Bas, you go. You're chomping. You're chomping.
My goodness. Look, let me first say, I agree on 3 out of 4 picks. But to leave Strahinja Stojicic off the list is outrageous. There's no way. The man has been a number 1 player in the world for 3 straight years. 3. Look, he has won more World Tour Masters than Dusan Bulut. He's got 16 wins. Bulut's got 15 wins. Now, look, he has less World Tour finals, but the same amount of Europe Cup medals and a couple of less World Cup medals. Let's be honest with you. But I could not leave him off the list. And if I had
Olympics.
To pick,
and Olympics too, Bas.
No, I agree. But Dusan also doesn't have more than a 3rd place at the Olympics, right? So, and look, 3rd place is great, but I'm saying, I have to go and I have to cut, Lasmanis or Miezis. I looked at both players. I think, Kyle, you're struggling with that, semi-recency bias here, as Miezis at the start of his career was definitely not the player he is now, whereas Lasmanis came into the league and he was it. He was that guy. Right? He's been that guy Last time Miezes won a Masters was in 22. When's the last time Los Manos won a Masters?
Last year.
Yes, exactly, in 2024. When's the last time Los Manos won a Europe Cup medal?
He won a bronze medal in 23.
Exactly, and Miezes wasn't there. So, Batman is on the list. Miezes to me is off. Even though I think he's a heck of a player.
Don't you do that to
But
don't
he
you
is
do
off
that to the maids,
in
Bas.
favor of
Do
Strahinja
not do-
Stojicic. Strahinja Stojicic is one of the best offensive weapons in the game of 3x3. You can't leave him off.
Oh man, this is awesome.
I'm hitting
I
you.
can feel it. Look, if you don't mind, can I, as the young buck in this, I'm the young buck. I'm gonna
Okay,
say
come on.
something.
Come
One,
on.
no arguments. Dusan Bullet, Dejan Majstorovic. Which I want to say with Dejan, he's the epitome of Old Testament and New Testament. Don't forget, he was a monster on Novi Sad. That's when Sir was Novi Sad and became even an evolved better player on Oob. That's when you see the before and after of a player getting better. Just want to comp that with Maestro. He's one of my favorite players. Strahinja Stojicic, I'm with you, Bas. He started in Verbus in 2018. When Bronco first came on, he was multiple MVPs after that. Then they broke up, and then he made another name for himself in Oob. Okay? And then kept going. 2021, he breaks out with MVPs. 2022 has about 3 minimum. He had 4 in 2023, actually, let me say that. And MVP in the Europe and World Cup. And there was an article written that he was being argued to be the GOAT above you-know-who of 3x3. So, Strahinja Stojicic with the mustache deserves to be there. Because of his brother, though, because of that training, got him there. Now, I'm going to say a person that y'all didn't say, and I was watching him back. I got to interview him, and I don't think you guys remember this guy. And I want Dusan to give that ice of the Iceman.
Yes,
You
Herzegovina.
Herzegovina.
On the Mount Rushmore? Oh.
Because, don't forget, he was the top player, but right there in the 2016, 2017, but 2018, he broke out. He was right below Dusan. He was leading in almost every category. Also, his build is another foundation of all the other players who were 6'2". To be 6'5", 6'6", it's perfect in 3x3.
He's listed as 6'2"?
Cool. He's listed as 6'2". He may be. Wait, you think he's shorter? You think?
Yeah, I think he was.
Then even better.
Bas, you remember that cockback? You remember that cockback? He was nice. He scored 50. He scored 50 en route to the 2016
and undefeated
World Tour final.
Y'all want to hear one of the greatest what ifs in 3x3 history?
Mm-hmm.
Yasmin Herzegovina, I want to say 2018, maybe 2019. After Ljubljana were done, after they broke up, he shot a message to the Dutch Federation and said, "Hey, do y'all have a spot on the squad?" He came in and practiced with us for a couple of weeks, bro. And like at this stage, mind you, he's probably 40 at this stage, right? He was close to 40.
Yeah,
he could still go.
He could still go, but he had lost his step on defense. So and our identity was created around like defensive solidness and structure. So he came into our practices and like, you know, throwing flamethrowers, like just Super Mario with a flower, just bloop, bloop, bloop. But if our staff opted not to take him because of his age, and like we had to figure out a way to pay people, and they couldn't at the time. But he could have been on that Amsterdam team when Arvin started. And Mayo was there, Jesper was still there, Adam was still playing that the pre-2020 Olympics Dutch team. He could have been a part of that.
All right. Vince, go get your last 2. You got 2 more.
No, I already did my 4. I already agreed. Dusan Bullet number 1. Dejan Majstorovic number 2.
Yep.
I put Yasmin as number 3, and then Strahinja Stojicic as number 4.
Okay. Yes,
all right.
my
That's
bad.
it. I got to get Iceman. When I watched him play, you looked at Gladiator, how he plays now. Damon Humphrey plays now. And as you just said, he may not have been 6'2". He could have been 6'1". He looked shorter. Every time he went in that lineup, this dude was looking up at all his teammates, but they were looking down when he was getting to the hole. And he can shoot beautifully. Beautifully.
And think about it. So I played against them many a times, right? Their team setup was odd. Like
Yeah.
I look, they played with 3 bigs and a ball handler.
Facts.
Tomo Kaic wasn't really a ball handler. Like he could shoot a
Yeah.
little bit, but
Yep.
he played in a post and had that fadeaway. Then Birdman
Yep.
was a pick and roll target, like 7'1",
Blas
big
Rozendaal.
guy, Bas Rozendaal, and then
good.
Alice Kunch. He was also playing from the post, so they had only Yasmin to handle the ball.
And didn't they also have Anze Shrebo?
No, that's Piran. That's Piran.
Oh, I was thinking about National. I didn't know if Anze if he played
National,
with
they never.
Shrebo.
That's I think the one, because I looked into Herzegovich as well, but because he has 2 World Tour Finals wins.
Yep.
Mind you, 2,
Yeah.
but only 3 Masters wins besides that, and he was never a part of the national team because the guys from Piran or Trbovia, so as they were called before,
Yeah.
would always take that spot. So he has no international team success, no Team Slovenia for him.
He is a great.
Yes,
But the Mount Rushmore is reserved for the 4 very, very, very best to ever do it. Ever. And let me defend myself because y'all went in on me with me picking Miezis or Las Manos over Strahinja. I got to defend myself. Y'all know I got the utmost respect for Strahinja. He's been the baddest man in 3x3 for the last 3 years. I mean, bar none. Number 1 player in the world. I mean, he's done some of the most incredible things, record-setting things. I think he's maybe the trickiest player out to guard. I mean, he and Worthy neck and neck.
Yeah.
The reason I didn't give it to him over Miezis or Las Manos is because both have played longer. And to me, that Olympic gold medal carries a lot of weight.
Yeah.
To me, the Olympic gold carries a lot of weight. Strahinja is going to surpass both of those guys in terms of accomplishments, in terms of World Tour wins, in terms of stats, in terms of numbers. But for me, performance at the biggest stage of the sport matters. NBA Finals wins, NBA Finals records matters to me. Those 2 dudes, when it mattered most, won an Olympic gold, and they were in line to potentially win a gold in Paris this year. I know, shoulda, coulda, woulda. They didn't do it.
Yeah.
But they didn't lose a game in group play. I mean, they ran through the entire competition. Miezis gets stung by a bee on his fingertip and completely throws his shot off and kind of throws off the course of what that team could do, which also refutes Bas's point about the team not being good without Las Manos. But you saw how they played when Miezis was the one who was banged up. They weren't the same team. So I think they're equally valuable to the success of the Latvians, to the success of Riga when they played together on the World Tour. So much love for Strahinja, but I ain't changing my Mount Rushmore.
How can you on the women's end leave Kat Plouffe off your squad because she is close but not Michelle Plouffe, and then put both Batman and Robin on the squad, bro? Like I can't.
No.
I can't with you,
bro. Because to me they're interchangeable. It's like it can't be one without the other. It's Batman and Robin. Like if we can put them both in and they take one slot, that would make it easier for me because then Strahinja would be there.
Is that a head size 7? Because that thing must be tight.
But now you're saying the same thing about you're saying the same about Cat and Michelle.
Yes, I am. Yes, and I realize that it is a little bit contradictory, but I don't care because wait, let me consult with my mini-me back here. Is it okay? Everything I'm saying? All right. So listen, man, I ain't worried about what y'all saying. As long as me and him on the same page, then we good.
Big bro, I'm with you because literally, I did Yasmin because I did a deeper dive into history, but Las Manos is right there for me. He's been there since under 18, 2012. The gold does count a lot. I love him as a player. To me, he's the epitome of the perfect 3x3 build of Backset. But I just want to do the history. I really think he studied how Yasmin played because you saw how crafty he was with the ball and became that great. But here's the thing. When we talk about go to Mount Rushmore, is there a piece of another player that you see in another guy in the future? And that's what I saw with Yasmin, the way he shot. Don't forget, he was back and forth to become the best shooter, better than Dejan Majstorovic. You minus 3-4 years from Yasmin, he may be in the run and become the best shooter in 3x3 versus Dejan.
Yeah, I think there's a point there. I think that he definitely had some impact and influence on players that, or around his size to give them
Yeah.
some encouragement that they can play the game at a high level as well. But maybe not as much as some other guys. All right,
No, that's
we
not.
got.
Let's
I'm
go.
gonna go some. I'm gonna go to some honorable mentions.
All
Mentions.
right, go
Yes.
ahead.
Okay.
Let's do it.
All right. First, these guys are first ballot. Maybe not Mount Rushmore, but first ballot.
First ballot.
I'm starting in Serbia. The surgeon, Marko Savic.
Savic.
Right.
Savic.
Mihailo Vasic, Olympic
Yes.
bronze medalist. Since I didn't have Strahinja on the Mount Rushmore, I got Strahinja as a first ballot, as well as his brother, Mr. Robot, Stefan Stojicic, who was league MVP in 2018. How about this dude? Y'all like the Slovenians, the Sphinx Simon Finsgar, first balloter. Gappy, Gaspar Ovnik, also off that team, first balloter. I'm going to take y'all to the USA. America. Kareem Maddox.
Maddox,
Well, look at Bas' face.
Pioneer.
He's a pioneer. Canyon Barry as well. Damon Huffman. When you look at American 3x3, we've seen more consistency in the men's rosters than we've seen in the women's rosters. Kareem Maddox has been a mainstay. Damon Huffman has been a mainstay. Canyon Barry has been a mainstay. If Robbie Hummel would have kept playing, I think that he might have had a spot. He might have potentially been able to have a spot on the Mount Rushmore. I got three more names. Another one's American. We can't forget about Disco Damo. Damo Jones, pioneer. I think is a first balloter. I don't care what Boz's eyebrows say. Egner's Crewmans on the Latvian team. Agnes Chavars, DeMail van der Horst.
I thought you said three.
DeMail van der Horst and Steve Sir. All right. I think all these guys are first balloters. And Michael Money in the Bank Hicks might be in that conversation too.
You couldn't give. Did you give us any room to add any people?
Well,
did you?
I just gave you some names to feed off of. Go ahead.
Do you mind, Bas, or you want to take this one?
No,
Looks
go
like you
ahead.
know
Go ahead.
Because I was there too. Simon Finsgar, the Sphinx, again, one of the most dynamic scorers you ever done. I mean, Edward Crewmans, I'm going to talk about him later. But I just want to do a real quick shout out to one of the smallest, toughest players that you ever met in your life from Chi-Town. This guy, I mean, I don't know if he's from Chi-Town, but he was with Scottie Pippen in Chi-Town Masters. Do you remember the guy named Willie Terrell McGraw?
Willie Terrell. No.
Willie, look him up. He's 6'1", but if you look at his picture, he looks like he's 6'8". He was just pure muscle, one of the best trash talkers in 3x3 when it first came out into Genesis. Again, old head though, and it's fun. Look him up. Willie, I might pronounce his last name wrong, but he was back in like 26. Like for American 3x3, he was #1 in America for a little bit. All right.
Okay.
Yep.
You gonna say Moses Malone next? You gonna take it back to Wilt?
But let's
Wilt Chamberlain.
Wilt Chamberlain did that, and also Mr. Michael Littlaker from
Linklater.
Linklater.
Yep.
Linklater. Michael.
Yep.
I want to put him in the ballot too. This dude, crafty as well with the ball, true ball handler, but proved he can survive. And I mean, because of the shot, we got to talk about the Dragon. I'm telling you, the Dragon.
Bogdan Dragovic.
I mean, it's an honorable mention. I'm not saying he's low. He's okay. No, I'll give
okay.
No. I'll give him second. I'll give him second ballot. You're right.
Oh, wait. Listen, we Stefan Kojic.
Yes.
Stefan Kojic. What I wasn't reading my list
He's
properly.
on my list.
Stefan
He's on mine.
Kojic.
No.
Certain.
I'm taking credit for the chef.
Certain.
I'm taking credit for the chef. Don't take
First
that.
ballot.
Okay?
One of the
First
greatest
ballot,
ever.
he's right here. I can show you it. Stefan Kojic, I have it right there. Don't take that one away from me.
Wait,
okay?
look at Boz's face. Bos
go. Bos go.
Look at he can't wait.
I can't wait because we've shifted the discussion from the Mount Rushmore into the Hall of Fame, and now we're just handing out participation trophies. What the
No, Bos. These are honorable mentions.
You went 8 though. You did 8 though. I was gonna give 3.
You gave a list of 20 honorable mentions, my guy.
You did. You made a whole team. I had 3.
Look, I can throw in some honorable mentions that nobody's heard of in a minute. Like, look, I can come up with some players that no one's heard of in a minute. That's fine.
Heard of all these guys, Bos. Come on,
I've heard of all of these guys and more. And look, I think Hall of Fame is a different discussion than the Mount Rushmore is. And I do agree with all of your honorable mentions being a part of the Hall of Fame. I think Mount Rushmore is a different discussion. To me, you have to be either the best or very close to the best in the case of, the Plouffe sisters or Batman and Robin. You have to be very close to the best on your squad. And Kareem Maddox, only in a few instances of that USA team. And I'm not saying I love Kareem Maddox. He's a great player. He's a foundational piece for a team because of his defense and his offense, but he's usually not the best player on his team. And let me remind you of the fact that Kenyon Barry on that World Cup 2019 was probably playing better than him. Jimmer Fredette in recent years has been the guy on that team. You don't build around Kareem Maddox, whereas with Dusan Bulut, you build around him and Majstorovic. The Plouffe sisters, you built around their pick and roll combination. So, look, Hall of Fame, we can have a discussion on that. I don't think we should do it this pod. We can have a different pod on that because, man, I have some names for that one for sure. I'm gonna dig deep and I'm gonna come up with a bag. But I'm saying is, look, I think the list is very very Serbian, and then Mieza Mosmaz. I had Vasic on my list as well because of his international success. I looked into a couple of different players, but to me, again, let's say Worthy. He hasn't been playing long enough. He's got the Olympic pedigree now with the Olympic win and the World Tour Finals win and the Masters wins. It's just he's only been in a game for 2 years. That's not long enough. I looked into Finsgar and I looked into Ovnik. The problem for them is that their team played such a team-oriented style of 3x3 basketball that neither of them really popped. Finsgar popped for a little bit there.
Yeah, he did not.
But was he the best player on the team? Was Ovnik the best player? Sometimes it was Shrevov. Sometimes it was Kavgic.
No, it was Finsgar. It was Finsgar.
Would that team
Finsgar was the most dangerous weapon on that team. He just didn't exactly fit in that system. They were very methodical in the way that they ran their offense, and Ovnik was that great floor general. He wasn't so athletic. Ovnik wasn't going to be great at creating his own shot, but he was very skillful. But the Swiss Army knife of that team was, without question, was Finsgar. He could do it all. Yeah.
But Kyle, didn't you call Ovnik the teacher? Wasn't his nickname the teacher?
The teacher.
Yeah, he was the teacher, and they had a very Princeton-like offense. Pass, screen away. They never stand still, really, unless they're setting up a shot in the corner. I remember watching them in the first couple of years of 3x3. So I could see how, one, Bas is saying, did he really stand out? But you got him at the Sphinx, got a Sphinx for the name. This guy was mythological. This dude created magic out of nothing sometimes, even from a born prison officer. But hey, look.
All right. Well, since we should cap off this discussion because we talked about a lot of the greats with the greatest of all time, the very best, the number one, the GOAT.
We're not saying that for last? We're not saying that for last?
All right, so let's pump the brakes for a second. That got heated. Let's go to some subcategories now. Okay, let's go back over to the ladies' side. I'm gonna start off with a hard one because we're gonna start off with best defensive player.
It's not hard.
Of all time.
Pause.
Good one. Play now. Go ahead, Vince.
Michelle Plouffe. I think she's the best defender of all time. Michelle Plouffe leads in defensive rebounds most of the time, can block anyone out the gym, is lengthy. She can be lateral, especially when she's healthy. She can guard a guard on the arc and also inside the post. I think Michelle Plouffe is one of the best defenders of all time.
Man, not Jay Koundade? Not the mermaid in France? No. Okay, I was just throwing it out there. No. Go ahead, Bas.
All right.
I'm curious.
I'll give you my defensive player, best defender ever in 3x3 on the women's sides, and it's the current number one, Noortje Driessen.
Okay.
On-ball defense, athleticism, led the women's series in blocks in 2024. Sorry, just let me reiterate that for you. Put that hat back on your head. There you go.
Man.
No,
you got it twisted just like I got the cap twisted. You got it twisted right now, Bob. All right, go ahead.
Led the women's series in blocks in 2024. I know we don't count steals or deflections, but she plays hounding on-ball defense, can hold her own in the post because of her quick hands and because of the way she is using their athleticism to block shots, even from taller players. Look, I had to fit her in somewhere. I think this is the perfect spot. She is the current world number one, but I think that's mainly because she brings that defense that her brother Jan also brings, as well as maybe some added offense. So I like her as best defender in the women's game. Look, I think Jay Koundade, though, honorable mention for sure.
Yep.
And Michelle Plouffe as well.
Okay. Honorable mention. I wasn't going to pick Jay Kundade. I just want to throw her name out there because to me, she didn't play at the senior level long enough. But one of those players, I think if she had the longevity, she would be the one. But Bas, this is you. Don't Homer all day, every day. I knew somehow you were gonna circle it back to the Netherlands and go with love to Norta Driesen. I think that she's probably number one, or she's certainly top 3 in women's 3x3 right now. Her evolution has been fun to watch. She's an incredible player. Greatest defensive player of all time, Bas. Have you fallen from the top of the mountain? Have you fallen from the top of the mountain?
Please give me who you have.
I'll give the Sunny G before her.
No. I'll give you one. And you can't even argue with me on this one. It is Casey Bosch. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? You want to talk about a pest defensively? All effort, all the time, grit, toughness, tenacity, on ball, perimeter, even in the post can hold her own. You cannot find, in my opinion, a better defensive player because defense for me is all about effort, right? 100% effort, relentless effort. That is Casey Bosch all day long from the moment that she stepped on a 3x3 square. That's what she brings to that Canadian team. I think she's one defender that strikes fear in offensive players that are trying to attack her because it's such a difficult task to undertake. So for me, best defender all time. Bas, I wonder if you got an argument for that. You can put Nortje up to Casey Bosch defensively. And
Look, Casey Bosch gets to play the type of defense that she does because the back line behind her is 2 sisters that stand 6'3" and that can guard the rim. Does Nortje Driesen have that behind her? I don't think so. Look, Casey Bosch, love her defense, and she was actually, top 3 for me in this discussion as well. I looked into her, I looked into Nortje, Jay Kundade, and the Plouffe sisters. But if there's one other person on your team that can be mentioned in the discussion that automatically rules you out for me, so Casey Bosch will still remain number 1 in head wounds during tournaments because every time she steps on the court, she hustles so hard she ends up getting a cut somewhere and then has to get a Band-Aid, which, look, I love Casey Bosch, but I still think Nortje Driesen, while carrying a bigger offensive load, is also able to put out, a stronger brand of defense because she doesn't have the backline that Casey has behind her.
Well, I want to say this too, and I was going to say Casey Bosch literally is right below Michelle Plouffe for me, but as I said, son of a gun.
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean it. Sorry.
But I was going to say, we said this at the Olympics, blood, sweat, and tears. She holds the record of amount of pints of real blood on a 3x3. And she isn't. But to Bas's point, though, when you have 2 amazing scorers down there, also an amazing shooter on a Canadian team, you can play your role. And Casey Bosch plays the role to be a pest. To be really in you all the time. She doesn't need to put any real effort or energy in the offense except making sure she can find the right pass. So when you save all your energy at that, now you're a Pat Beverly. You're literally a Beverly that all you're going to do is defend. And know what? I'm going to make my millions defending. I don't need to score. Stop that player and people this. So
it's called starring in your role. And we've lost that in 5-on-5 basketball. We've lost that even in 3x3. Be a star in your role. Each ingredient needs to be different. But when you put these different ingredients together, it makes a masterpiece of a meal. And I don't want everything to taste the same. You see what I mean?
I'm not just very curious on who you picked for the men's side.
All right, let's get over to the men's. Okay. You know what? Y'all want me to go first?
Yeah, go ahead.
I got mine.
I wanted to hit y'all last with this, but I'll hit you right out the gate. Best men's defensive player all time, 3x3. He was on the Lakers bench at one time.
Yes.
Is that a hint? Oh, y'all. So Bas might know who this is. Sweet D Willie Murdahl. Willie Murdahl. Yes, of Team Saskatoon. This is a throwback for people who just started watching 3x3 in the last 2 years. But by the way, if you see pictures of Willie Murdo right now, he's like 55 years old, and this dude will put a 22-year-old to shame. The dude is chiseled. He's doing all these exercises
That's what I
out
was
in the park.
talking about.
But Willie Murdo was the most intense 3x3 player, let alone defender, I have ever seen in my life. He'd be slapping himself in the head throughout the game, talking to himself. You're like, something wrong with this dude. But his defense, it translated to his defense because he was mental defensively. You could not post Willie Murdo. No. You could not post Willie Murdo. He would stick with you on the perimeter. The dude never got tired. I mean, in some of the best physical condition that I've seen of any player, nobody would ever mention Willie Murdo because, again, he's one of the pioneers. He's a dinosaur in 3x3 now. When you think back to 15 and 16, nobody thinks back to those years. But I had to start with Willie Murdo, best defender of all time.
Wow.
One second, boss.
Go ahead.
I mentioned him when it came to the Mount Rushmore, and you looked at me like you didn't know who he was.
No, you're thinking of somebody else, Vince.
No, Willie Terrell Murdo. That's the same guy. Look up his full name. Willie Terrell Murdo. Go on the 3x3 online. Right now, he's great. Well, he looks like a post-Super Saiyan. This guy literally says, I use a lot of lotion and something. So, yes, that's Vince, what I was talking about.
We're not putting him on the Mount Rushmore.
No. Now we're okay, but anyway, no, not for those.
That's a step too far. Defense, yes.
So first time I ever got the chance to meet Willie Murdo was in Prague. I want to say in 16, where I played at the World Tour, where I got my one and only ever, I think, most spectacular player. Only 2 games played, but I had a bunch of dunks and I had a bunch of fadeaway shots. And Kyle was like, "This shot looks very unorthodox, but it goes in." Like, all right. But anyway,
was I hating? Was I sneak hating?
Yes, you were. But that's where I caught my nickname, the Mountain. And anyway, so to throw it back, right? So I get to Prague like the night before or something. I go eat breakfast, and I get into the buffet line, and I hear hoo 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 hoo, and then some guy's just talking. And I'm like, who the hell's out here trying to start an argument? Who's fighting? Like, what's going on? And this guy, there's this guy, like this jack dude, you know, kind of older looking. He's at the buffet line, and he's straight up just barking and just talking to himself. It's 8 a.m, bro. And this guy, it was like not like that, not just like that on the court. He was like that off the court. He would bark, he would scream, he would slap himself. He was legit crazy. Mind you, this cat was 45 at the time. He was 45.
Yes.
Insane.
Yes.
But you know what's also insane? The fact that you picked him as best defender. Dear Lord.
Of all time. Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Okay, give me yours.
Fully wrong. Look,
okay, give me one. Give me one.
There can only be one. There can only be one. With a honorable mention for another guy who was on the same squad, just in a different year. Marco Zdero. There you go.
Oh, Zdero.
Oh,
yep. I have played against most of the people that we're talking about now. This is my age in 3x3. And Marco Zdero was the worst, the worst matchup for me. And he was the shortest guy on your squad, right? Usually, I'm 7 foot tall. I get the shortest guy on the squad on me. Anyway, the Iceman, Herzegovich, I'm like, all right, let's go to work. Barbecue chicken. Let's get it. That's a bucket. Well, on that team, I got Bullet. I was happy. I got Majstorovic. I was happy. I got Savic. Less happy, but still sort of happy.
Yeah.
Zdero, I was passing out of that. I was passing out of that post-up. I'm not playing against you. I am not playing against you. The man is built like a brick. He was, and he looked like he ate baskets for breakfast. Like and mind you, and look, all love to Marco. He had no offense to speak of, none. And they would still find a spot for him on the team because his defense was insane.
Yeah. Okay.
If you try to drive past him, he'd get hands on the ball. If you try to get him in the post, he'd move you away from the basket. The man was incredible. And look, even the honorable mention is in my case a better pick than Willie Murdoch, because I love Murdoch, but he only played for a short time. But Frankenstein, Thomas Ifosev, that's a good second pick to me.
Yeah. Listen, I'm with you on Zdero. I was trying to be splashy by picking Sweet D, Willie. Pause. Vince, change your face.
Oh, oh, can you hear me? That is a pause.
That's what his family. That's what his family called him, man. That's
You
his
ain't
nickname growing up.
I was chilling up with some sweet Lily D last night. He was barking at himself. It got me riled up.
All right,
Sweet
all
D.
right. You're just going off the rails with this one. All right, but no, Jetto deserves that nod, man. I didn't give him enough credit. Like he was a huge part of Novi Sad's success. He was all defense. Yes, Evo Sep, Bas, he could be beat on the perimeter, man. He was a monster in the post, but he wasn't checking no guards like that.
He was close, but what makes up that difference to me is the fact that he would get a lot of steals. And again, I know we don't keep that stat in 3x3, but if the ball was swung, he would usually try to gamble on that pass. He would catch it, and then there would be a straight up point. But again, playing against him, and this is from personal experience, playing against him, he's another one of those guys. There's only been a few guys in 3x3 that I wasn't able to move at 7'3", whatever, 30.
Mm-hmm.
And Ivosev was one of them, and he would take every matchup personal. This guy would really start talking trash to you at breakfast, and everybody, not even me,
really?
just me, but he would walk around and start
Like
talking
the mental
trash.
game.
Mental game, and he would be subtle about it too. He'd come to your table and say like one or two like offhanded like slight remarks, and then he would smile at you, and then he would walk away, and then kind of look backwards and keep smiling. Like
I like him.
and you would go into the game like this cat is a little bit crazy, but it's all right. And then on the first play, he would just elbow you straight in the ribs, like done.
Now
You got to be built for it.
Built for it. Look, had zero on my thing. Literally, Evil Seth is my number 2. So amazing pick, Bas. I agree. But number 1, if you want to talk about intensity and insanity on the court, 6'5", also has some American training, played at New Haven. I'm going to give it to the manimal, Mahalo Vasic.
Right.
Tell me someone who isn't as tall as he is, but also a pest that can guard inside and out. He doesn't really get beat as much. And when he does, he chases down that basketball. He'll try to poke it up. I wish we can put stops as a 3x3 stat. Don't have to be steals and stuff, like legit stops.
Stops and steals, I think would be good.
Yep. Mahalo Vasic, the manimal, literally is a berserker on defense. He can score on offense. Don't forget, he was top when it comes to scoring for a little bit, but also he's on that team on Lehman that will find the best player and shut him down. So I'm giving it to the manimal.
Well, I think he's a little slower foot, so I would debate you there. And I don't think I've ever seen Vasquez block anybody's shot.
Let me.
He does have blocks.
No, I'm joking. I'm joking. But okay, Bas, go ahead.
The best defender on that Liban squad, even though Vasquez is a good defender, I'll give that to you.
Radkov.
Exactly, Alexa Radkov. Alexa Radkov was a problem. He was actually the third name on my list because he was the defender for a while, right? Yeah, comb that beard. There you go. He was the defender.
I gotta look
He
good,
was
baby.
the defender for. I love the fact that it's a pink comb too. I'm just pointing it out. I can't. I'm distracted now. But anyway, look, Radkov was the defender on that squad. But look, and again, not to take away anything from Vasic, because I think he's a good defender. But he in stages, because Radkov has not played for a while, in stages wasn't even the best defender on his own team, right? So. I like both of your picks, though.
You could even throw Maxim Kovacevic in there too.
Maxim too.
Like I mean, you got Damon Huffman has been a consistent terror on defense for a long time. All right, well, okay, we'll leave that one where it's at. We'll go from defense. Okay, go ahead.
Person, just if he doesn't have so many, he's been a body bag at his size and has gotten his ankles taken. But I would give it to cell block, Marcel Esawune. The way he defends the rim, yes, but it's like a gamble with him because, he'll send your ball to the bleachers, but if he misses that 1 second, he's on a highlight. As a big man, you shouldn't have that many dunks on you, and we've seen it happen.
I think he might be the best shot blocker. No. And then don't forget about a dude named Pelokoko as well.
Pelokoko.
Play for you come on, Bas. Well, okay. See, we can argue about this all day. Let's get it over to offense now. We'll go back over to the ladies. most prolific. So this is like the Kevin Durant award. He's never going to get greatest of all time. So it's like a special category for like the most potent scorer, like certified bucket getter. ISO, a nightmare. Ladies side, Vince, start us off.
I did it wrong. I thought you said best shooter. So I picked my best shooter.
That could work too.
My best shooter, I'm going to keep in Canada, the zone. Paige Crozone. I looked at her stats. Almost 30% from two every year, except one in 2019, and 50 to 60% inside the arc. She may not have to really go to the rim, but her stop and pop game is amazing. Her shots off screens when it comes to Michelle and Kat, and also that little hyper chihuahua, Casey Bosch, she knocks it down. They give her the rock in crucial moments, and she knows how to shoot it. There's an old saying, there's many people that have the will to take the shot, but do you have the skill to make the shot? And she has both. So I'm putting that as one of the best scorers in your way, but shooters for the women's, Paige Crozone.
Okay. All right. What you got, boss?
Look, I did actually prepare best shooter, so Paige Crozone, but But if we go most prolific scorers, there can only be one name for me. And I know she hasn't played a lot of 3x3. But she did play at the highest level in the Olympics. Tiffany Hayes. Tiffany Hayes grabbed my attention in the Olympics. She played in the Olympics. And again, if I look at certain players, I'd like to emulate certain parts of their game. These are usually male athletes. With Tiffany Hayes, I was like, let me play like her. She plays cool as shit. Her game is tough. She can shoot. She can cross. She looks cool while doing it, too.
Heard it.
And she can get buckets. If I have to win a game, at the end of the game, if I have to give the ball to a player, it'd be her.
Oh, yeah. No argument. No argument there. I thought about Tiffany, but because Tiffany has... she hasn't played a lot of 3x3. I didn't include her, but pound for pound, I think she's the most dangerous offensive weapon in women's 3x3. And that's no shade to Sandra Iguodavide, who's in the conversation, or my pick, which was going to be Minya Touré.
It was filet mignon.
It was gonna be filet mignon because of her ability. That crossover was vicious. She can get to the bucket at any time that she wanted. And she was shooting that too pretty consistently for a while as well. That 1-2 combo with her and Guapo, and during the time it lasted was crazy. But she was a certified bucket getter. If I'm gonna go with shooter, I think it's a sweep. It's a sweep. We all agree. Best shooter in women's competition ever, it's got to be the zone. Paige Crozone. All right, let's get it over to the men's. We can double up. We handled that pretty well. We can double up.
Yeah, right, but I think this one.
Okay, we might disagree. So this is okay. So if we go on just strictly shooter, it's more like the Steph Curry Award, the best shooter of all time in 3x3. I'll throw some names out. Y'all pick who y'all want. But for me, it came down between Steve Kerr, Dejan Majstorovic, Jimmer Fredette.
Yes.
Okay.
And Damon Huffman.
Oh, you're forgetting one. You're forgetting
Homer.
No. Look, I'd love to put Arvin's name on the list. And I think he may deserve to be on this list, but just for the sake of being called a homer all the time, I'm going to go ahead and say Sharunas Vingelis. Because
his percentages, Vince, are crazy. But I'm not going to say Vingelis because of 2024. Whatever his stats probably lost 10 or 12 percentage points on his career numbers because of how poorly he shot it last season. So, but if I had to pick between those four names, I'm thinking of who's the dude who I am deathly afraid of letting get a look. The name that I left off the list was Stefan Kojic.
I was just going to say you're missing the chef.
The name that I left off the list was Stefan Kojic.
Yeah.
But an open look from two. If there's one guy I don't want to have a look, it's got to be Steve, the Sheriff, sir. Okay. I think
Not sure.
he's the
Yeah.
most automatic. I'm telling you, it's neck and neck. Nobody's made bigger shots than Mike Stordovich. Nobody.
Yeah.
Kojic has made some of the most difficult contested shots we've ever seen. It was so hard, but for me, the shooter I'll be most afraid of getting hot is Steve Sir, the Sheriff. Period.
Oh,
What you
I'll
thinking, Bas?
No, I'll take that. And look, it was it was a two-man race for me. Dejan, obviously a legendary shooter, but I don't think it's the same with Vingelis. He might not be as legendary, but I don't think people are changing their defense for Dejan and for Vingelis, right? They are paying extra attention to them, but they are not changing their defensive scheme for Dejan Majstorovic or Sarunas Vingelis. Maybe a little bit, but not too much. They are changing their defensive scheme for Steve Sir and Jimmer Fredette, though. And out of the two, I think from beyond the arc, Steve Sir is the more deadly option, but it's also because he doesn't have the in-between game that Jimmer has. So based off of that, and it kind of hurts me because I love Steve, and I think he's one of the, if not the best shooter ever in 3x3, but I do have to give the nod to Jimmer here because A, he's shooting a higher percentage from two. At least he was in 2023. And B, he's got the mid-range game on point as well.
Yeah. And just to clarify, Jimmer's the most dangerous shooter we've ever seen in the game. Period.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
Point blank. I'd be more afraid of Jimmer than Steve. The reason I picked Steve is because he's proved it over a longer amount of time. It's the longevity. We've had Jimmer in the league for 2.5 years for the most part. So I think in his time playing the game, we haven't seen anything like him. We may not ever see another shooter like Jimmer Fredette that's that lethal ever again. But simply because of the time played, I had to give the nod to Steve. Shout out to Edgar's Crewmans too.
Well, we're gonna get to Edgar's. I got something for him, but I still think Dejan Majstorovic is number one. Steve Sir definitely, but you want to talk about longevity? Since 2016, he's been the top 5 shooter in the league every year, except for 2. He was six in 2019, but then because of COVID 2024, his percentages were off. You know, in COVID, he only had 4 tours in 2020, so his shots were off. 60 to 7% from the field shooting. Okay, but behind the arc, always above 30%. I mean, yes, Jimmer is deadly, but you got to think about the size comparison too. Dejan Majstorovic is the KD of 3x3. It doesn't matter how tall you are, unless you are a true 7-footer, we have on the show. He can rise above. And also, he has a shot that goes back a little bit. Even when you put your hand up, he's looking over your hand, and he's memorized with his rim. And most of his shots are off 1 foot coming off a screen real quick, going right behind the 2-pointer. You got to think about
release.
that.
Facts. All right.
Dejan would hunt me with drives. That was even worse. Like, I was so tall, he'd just be like, I can't shoot over him. Let's just be quicker than him.
But that's the dynamic of it.
Let's quickly throw out a name in the hat for most prolific scorer. So not the Steph Curry award, but more the KD award. I'm gonna throw this name out there. It's got to be money. Michael Money in the Bank Hicks. Show me the money. Listen,
Hicks was
wild. Michael Hicks was a problem. There was nobody. Now, he was a volume shooter. Make no mistake about it.
Very much so.
But you want to talk about impossible shots, and he would make you look bad en route to hitting it from 25 feet, the corner from out of bounds. A dude that could score 10 a game almost regularly.
Yeah.
The most prolific scorer. He struck fear in people defending him. You know, people felt a certain way because he was brash. You know, he came up playing in the streets. He was talking. No, he talked a lot of shit. That was Money in the Bank. But
no,
I like this personality. But he was an absolutely deadly scorer, killer. Could get to the rim too, but really he could create a shot out of nothing, out of nowhere, after dribbling through the legs and tapping you on your head and spinning in a circle. And blowing a kiss to somebody in the crowd, and he'd kill you like that. So that's my most prolific score ever.
Yo, Boss, one second. Kyle, remember when I interviewed him during the Olympic qualifiers? You just had him when I was doing what was it? A shots fired. Yo, I never talked about this man ever. His name was never in my mouth. Pause. I said, "Hey, yo, what's up, Hicks?" He's like, "Nah, man, you been talking crap about me." You know, I'm like, dude, I don't even know you. Like, I'm not playing against you. Like, why are you on? And I was like, "Yo, chill. Yo, he's just playing, Vince. He's just playing. Yo, you okay?" I think I look like another light skinned brother he didn't like, but like also real stuff. He came at me like I was playing him for money in the court. I was like, "Bro, the game's over. You won." Like,
it's the Mike complex, Vince. They create enemies out of thin air to serve as extra motivation. So you just.
But you're right.
Yo,
You're right.
I remember. So I had a break in my 3x3 career, right? So 2016, I get back in the game, and I start practicing, and within 3 weeks, they send me out to Chengdu, and we play this Polish team I have never heard of because I have not done any research, and my teammates go, "Yeah, that guy over there, yeah, he can really shoot it. His name is Michael Hicks, and you just kind of watch out with him." So I get caught in an ISO against the cat. I'm way out on the perimeter. I'm outside of the 2-point arc. This guy smiles at me, goes through the legs backwards twice. He's in the corner of the court, way back. Like, this is half court, right? So he's out, almost out of bounds, pulls up, and just comes up and over and sprinkles some salt on my head. And we all know, and we all know that wasn't salt, Mike. We all know that wasn't salt, Mike. Let's be honest.
Yes.
Sprinkled some salt on me. Anyway, Mike Hicks
seasoned you up.
Oh my goodness, Mike Hicks, a prolific scorer. But if we go most prolific scores, you can't go outside of Worthy, bro. Come on now. The man's got a gold medal in the Olympics. He got a World Tour Finals title under his belt. If you want to, again, if you have a game, you need one. Hicks was a volume shooter. If you have a game, you needed one. Would you give the ball to Hicks or Worthy? I would give it to Worthy any day.
Well, I'd still go with Money, but Worthy he's 1A. Money to me is one. Worthy is 1A. No, I think Worthy, to be honest, if he plays 2 more years, he's gonna be at the top of nearly every measurable, every list. We talking about Mount Rushmore. We talking about GOAT conversation, but I think he needs 2 more years. All right, to qualify. All right. All right, let's see. I think we got one more category. We got
one more category.
Most underrated.
Most underrated. And then we get to the GOATs.
Yes. Oh yeah. Of course, then the GOAT. All right, so quickly, guys, let's get to an unsung hero. Like most underrated player that had a great impact for their team, but maybe doesn't get the fanfare. Bas, you can start us off on this one.
Yeah, we've already mentioned this guy, and I'm going to go ahead and
I'm good. Guys or girls first?
Guys, let's do guys first.
Okay.
So I'm going to start off with my guy, Gaspar Ovnik, and I'm going to tell you why. This man, look, Piran played 3x3's versions of the Spurs' beautiful basketball, right? They moved the ball, they cut off the ball, and I remember our team just really kind of looking into their stuff, like how can we play like this? Because it was so fluid. It was beautiful 3x3 basketball to me. Even though, and I say this with all the love I have in me for the guys, when these fellas walked on the court, it looked like the teacher, the bus driver, and some random guy. They picked up off the street corner, came in and tried to kick your ass in 3x3, and they would whoop your ass. Like, and orchestrating all of that was Gaspar Ovnik, who was not just a great offensive player. He had a great body build for 3x3. Short legs, big upper body, very long arms. He could palm a basketball. He was great at passing. He could score. He had a knack for a score and big points as well. But he was also strong on defense, right? So I don't think he ever got the credits he deserved. Maybe also because the Sphinx was the more prolific player, because Simon Finsgar was able to dunk. He was shooting maybe the more important shots on that team. But I don't think that team functioned without Gaspar Ovnik at all.
Okay.
So I
like that.
And again, we wanted to emulate them, so I'll give it to him.
Yeah.
I remember
Shout out
watching
to
Gatsby
Gatsby.
first time. Yep. I remember listening to you, Kyle, for the first time, talk about the teacher, and I really said, he looks like he teaches chemistry. Yeah, he's definitely a chemistry teacher. Maybe math, but he does some crazy stuff. I got to admit that. I just want to shout him out. I've always loved this guy. He does not look like he belongs. He should be even playing basketball, but he was also associated with a very strong team that was from Riga. Egner Krumens. I think he doesn't get enough credit where he deserves. This man was almost I would say Agnes Travaris was the soul of the team, the way he can talk. Also, he's one of the few people that would do an interview, but the infamous dad whistle that we have. Hey, you know, sometimes we couldn't. We come together, but I love you, fans. Little, yeah. Oh! But Egner Krumens would say nothing. He looked confused 99% of the time, but he knew what he was doing. I will never forget his elite effort in the first Olympics in 2021. Basically tears his ankle apart, gets on the bench, wraps it up himself, comes back in for 3 plays, gets on the bench. Oh no, sir, he's not done. Comes back in, gets an assist, and who wins gold? Egner Krumens, I think, is that man that we don't talk enough about because he doesn't have the accolades. He's a part of a team. He may be in the background, but without him, I don't think that team would be that successful.
One of the greatest shooters ever, hands down. One of the quickest releases we've ever seen in 3x3. And let's be honest, he saved the Latvians' ass on more than one occasion. Because when Miezis and Lasmanis weren't always on the same page, that offense came from Krumens. He was making impossible shots year after year. One of the most resilient players. You want to talk about a warrior's mentality? Edgar's Krumens. I'm gonna stick with that team for my most underrated player, but I'm gonna go with Agnes Travaris. I gotta go with Agnes Travaris because he didn't get the acclaim. When you on a team that's got 2 superheroes, you're not going to get a lot of credit. But you want to talk about a guy that did the intangibles. Bas used a great phrase last year on the broadcast. He says the connective tissue.
Yep.
That keeps everything together. He didn't care. He didn't care about the adulation. He didn't care about having his name in the top 10 players to watch list. He cared about winning, and he did everything possible in terms of offensive rebounding, defense, and Bas will tell you this too. You bet not leave him open in that corner. Yeah, his shot's ugly as hell. That shot's ugly as hell. That shot didn't look right all the time, but he shot it at a high percentage, and he was as critical to the success that Latvia had as any player on that team. That's including Norris Miezis and Lasmanis as well. So he's my most underrated player of all time, narrowly beating out Alexander Radkov.
Yeah. What did you say before about playing your role, perfecting your role?
Starring your role.
And guess what he got? A gold medal from starring his role. Bas, what's up?
I don't think people understand how difficult it is as a player to try to face up against that Riga team. I underestimated them once, and I got whooped. And I'm talking 22-4. And I think I may have mentioned this last week as well. But look, I think I remember this clearly. We were playing in Bucharest in the Challenger, and they had set their sights on us because we were kind of like a middling team, but like I don't know, for some reason they had it out for us. And I didn't know these guys, so they walked on the court, and I was like, look at these 2 skinny dudes. Miezis still had some braces in his mouth. Yeah. Osmanis had an odd tattoo and some half-long hair. You know, Krumens looked like Gru from,
Despicable Me. Yep.
Krumens looked like the Penguin. It would have Batman Robin the Penguin.
Yeah, man. And I was like,
Batmobile.
and mind you, at this stage, we're talking 2017. Like everybody's trying to emulate the Serbians, so everybody's playing slow, methodical, screening. Oh my God, you guys are still in this joke.
No, I called him the Batmobile. That's why he went.
I was trying to compose myself.
Oh,
we got a comedian on the show.
No, all right. So what I was trying to say is, again, we played against them. They walked on the court. I was like, I don't know about these guys, fellas. And we were used to playing against slow, methodical Serbian teams, and they ran us off the court, bro. And I'm talking Krumens hit 5 of those side shovel, like 15 steps, but the ref wouldn't call it, like quick release 2s. They destroyed us, 22-4 or something. Wow. I've never been beat as bad as that in my life. So they were incredible. But look, I love all your picks.
All right. Well, this is the pick of picks.
Right, we still have to go most underrated for the women's.
Yeah, no, but but Bas, who was your most underrated again? Who'd you have?
Gasparovny.
That's
Yes.
teacher. Yeah, teacher.
Yes. You're right.
Woman.
Ladies. Okay, most underrated women's player of all time. Vince, you look like you're ready to give your take on this. Go ahead, man.
I
You
was
got it.
back and forth with it. But because she was such a star behind a bigger star, I want to give it to Vega Jimeno. I really think she deserves a lot more credit on that Spanish team. This woman is great. She played defense. She understood, look, I may not always have the first option, but I'm a solid second option for sure. Even when she was playing with the tank, Cuevas, this woman would send a pick and you went flying and she didn't move.
Is that a new nickname? I don't know if I would have went with that one. But that
No, not nickname. Just how
tank.
strong she was.
All right.
It was built for it. But Vega Jimeno, I have to admit, she can knock it down within the arc. She played her role beautifully, but because of Sandra Iguirvide and everyone's looking at this woman that's so seasoned in the game, she was in that shadow. But to me, she's one of the most underrated women's player in the women's series.
I cannot disagree with you. That was going to be my pick too. I think that Jimeno, Viva Las Vegas.
Yeah.
I wish that they would continue. They were going to continue to play. I think that they all decided to retire. I have to double check on that, but
Yeah.
I felt like she's been underrated for her entire career. I think she might even be the best passer in women's 3x3 history. If she's not the best, then she's up there. Certainly underrated. She always played with somebody who had a bigger star on the team. But when it came down to big shots, when it came down to making the cerebral play, the right play at the right time, the big moments, Vega Jimeno was that woman for Spain. Trust and believe. I'm with you, Vince.
And here's the thing. This woman would start off when she first started 3x3, 4 points a game, went up to 6 to 7 points a game. And when you think about 3x3, that is a third of your points that you're going to get at least from one player. So that is key. Solid 6 to 7, she's going to do that. Cool. Everybody else is do their role. We win it. But
I like the way she stepped up when Cuevas, decided to quit playing 3x3 basketball. So that's a great pick. I again, though, I have to give most underrated on the women's side to a player we have not even named in this podcast, while she's probably has the most women's series wins out of everyone. Marie-Ève Paget.
I did mention her. I said she's first ballot. First ballot.
Yeah, there you go with the Hall of Fame stuff again.
Yes.
His dollar menu. Just
okay. She was on my honorable mention list.
No, you're right. And she should be. And she should be on there because she was never the go-to player on the squads that she's on. But she's been a mainstay on the French national team for years. I think she has won more women's series even than the Plouffe sisters and Guapo because she's never injured. She always plays. She won the women's series final this year without Leticia Guapo. So I want to give her most underrated because I don't think she's been discussed enough in this pod.
Yeah, and she's so humble, so sweet. She's a killer on the court, but just a great all around person too. Yeah, okay.
I got to give her a shout out. I got to interview her when I was doing the Olympics with you for NBC, and I was able to hit her up one-on-one. The most amazing person. And I just say of humility, where she came from, she went back to where she played to give back to the community. She was so amazed that she was even voted to be on the team because she thought she wasn't going to make it. And she had no idea because, it could have was up in the air. But she loves this game. And she didn't really want to play this game at first and became to love it. So, yeah, Paget, salute to you. Thank you for joining 3x3.
She is an absolute legend. Now we get to cap the show, gentlemen. Drum roll, please. With the GOAT, the greatest of all time. Now, let's keep this in perspective. 3x3, big picture, is still a pretty young league. It's hard to name the greatest of all time in a decade, right? So. Yeah. This league is going to continue to evolve, and this conversation will as more years pass by in 3x3. But this is all we got to go off of right now. We don't even have a Hall of Fame established yet.
Yes.
But if we had to pick right now, the greatest of all time. We're going to start with the women. We're going to end with the men.
Okay.
Bas, you can go first. I want to know the greatest women's 3x3 player ever, in your opinion.
And this was a tough one. And I think I'm looking at Vince's teeth here. I'm going to go ahead and say he might have the same one. But I'm going to go with Michelle Plouffe. She has the winning pedigree on the women's series. She has 3 women's series finals win under her belt, a silver medal at the World Cup in 2022. She's won the America Cup in 22. She was 3rd in 21, I believe. Olympics, again, just outside of the top 3. But I think her overall body of work, to me, she is the clear GOAT in the women's game.
Bas, I'm surprised that you didn't pick Michelle and Kat as a combination for this one.
I thought about that, honestly.
Sure?
That's a good argument. I thought about that.
The 2-for-1 discount? Okay,
I did think about that.
Yeah.
All right, VC.
I literally, it's literally everybody I have like descriptions. No. Michelle Plouffe bodywork speech for himself. She has like probably I think one of the top MVPs of any women's player to ever do it. Longevity. And again, I'm going to keep talking about a comeback. Anytime you get injured to the extent she has and you come back still able to ball, it deserves more credit. She is a monster when it comes to offense. She is a demon when it comes to defense. She's a team player. And for a couple of years, she was some of the top assisters. Like, think about this. And no pun intended, saying a sister to the sister. You still can score whenever you want, but know how to find the open woman on the half court. She's unselfish as well. That's the greatest of all time. I'm with you, Michelle.
Okay. Y'all both missed the boat, unfortunately. I was hoping that y'all made the right pick, and of course you wouldn't. Got to leave it up to the voice to do it.
Oh, yeah.
The greatest player of all time is no discussion. It's not even debatable. It should be unanimous. It is Mercedes Walker.
Oh, my God.
Come on. Of Azerbaijan. What?
Oh, no.
What's wrong with y'all? Y'all don't get it? Y'all understand? Y'all can't. You know what?
Oh, God.
It's unanimous, guys. Hey, guys. It's unanimous. It's unanimous.
Marcus Cousins is the best connection player of all time. So just say
Oh, Lord.
Oh, my
DeMarcus
God.
Cousins at least is able to score. Anyway.
I just wanted to wake y'all up. Listen. During the Olympics, she literally quit for about a minute and a half and was on the sidelines like this. Okay. Listen, it is Michelle Plouffe, y'all. It is unanimous. No debate. That was an easy one. All right, we all with Michelle Plouffe on the greatest of all time up to this point. Now we switch it over to the fellas' side. And this is where I think this is where I think we may or may not agree. Vince, since you're the young pup, we're gonna let you go first. Tell us who's the GOAT, Vince.
I know who the GOAT is, but it's not easy. I do know who the GOAT is because of what I think the GOAT is. A GOAT, once you establish that, your remnants trails off to every person after you. There's something about your game that is now in the next one. Michael Jordan had it, went to Kobe, but then it went all the way through everybody else. Kyrie Irving has some stats of that. Steph Curry. Dushan Bullet. I met him in person. It'll be different if I was the young pup and never saw him. I got to see him in person, not only in America, got to see him in person in China, and I also got to see him all over watching the broadcast. His style of gameplay is that Mamba Jordan beast mentality. He may not smile a lot. He'll keep the serious face. His dribbling was insane. His craftsmanship was beautiful, but his showmanship really made 3x3 pop. When you're nutmegging people and then scoring and then getting up like you did nothing. That's another thing. As you got sprinkled salt in your head, boss, he wouldn't do that.
Huh?
Yeah. Different consistency. Anyway, the point is, he would do that and get up like, what are you guys cheering me for? I did nothing. We got to get to the next play. So Dushan Bullet again. It's my goat.
All right, I think Boz is very likely going to disagree with you, and then
I am, but let's
and then
go
I'm
ahead
gonna,
first.
well, no, you go, Boz, because I think I want to settle it because I want to because yeah,
All right, let me read y'all some stats.
Okay.
As I'm about to do. Again, I played against all of these players, and I agree with the fact that Dushan may have been the more flashy offensive option. I think Dushan set the bar for what 3x3 has become today, and I think that counts for a lot. But I am going to go ahead and give it to Dejan Majstorovic because
Really?
the man has twice the amount of World Tour wins from Dushan.
Okay.
So he won 15 World Tours with Dushan Bullet. He's won 16 with Oob now. He's at 31. Wow. The next best player is under 20. He's at 31 World Tour wins. He's got 6 World Tour Finals titles compared to 4 for Dushan. He's got 5 World Cup golds compared to 4 for Dushan. He's got, well, another run at the Olympics that didn't go as well compared to Dushan. But really though, look, I don't think he's as flashy. I don't think he's meant as much for the foundation of the game of 3x3. So I think that is where Dushan really takes his shine and gets ahead because he was the one that created the attitude, the flash. He had the personality for it, all that. 31 World Tour wins, though, 6 World Tour final wins to be consistent in a decade. Because he's played for 10 years to be as consistent as Dejan Majstorovic has. I cannot not give it to him. So I'll give it to Dejan Majstorovic.
Okay. The classic debate when it comes to GOAT conversation, the criteria, numbers, accomplishment, wins. It's established. Dejan Majstorovic is the most decorated player to ever play the game. Will probably go down as the most decorated even 10 years from now, right? Mm-hmm. But Dejan Majstorovic has never been the number one on his team. Dejan Majstorovic has never won a regular season league MVP. He was always second fiddle to the best player. It was Dushan first. It's Strahinja now. He's going to continue to rack up wins. He's going to continue to rack up points. He's still in great shape. He's still playing at a high level. If that's the criteria, then hell, Bill Russell is the greatest NBA player to ever play. He won the most. He won the most titles. Like Robert Ory's got 7 rings. That's more than Mike. So when we look at the criteria and we break it down, I say Dushan Bullet. So I'm gonna be the tiebreaker here because of his impact and influence on the game. I would argue that many players are more skilled than Michael Jordan is now in the NBA. LeBron's 100%. Numbers, LeBron's stats are gonna dwarf Michael's when LeBron finally decides to hang it up, and he's still playing at a high level. But LeBron was influenced by Michael. Kobe was influenced by Michael. Allen Iverson was influenced by Michael. They may not even be as great as they are without the influence of that one individual. Dushan Bullet gave the game an identity. He brought that flash and that flair. And some people don't like that, but it's necessary when you're growing a league, when you're growing a brand. You can't have a bland player, someone who's not interesting. 3x3 is street ball. What do you do in street ball? You sham, you cross, it's showmanship, it's shit talking. That's what 3x3 street ball is about. And this guy embodied everything about the game, which allowed it to be able to spring into the future with some notoriety, with some credibility. He brought the media attention. Not only did he do that, he showed up in big moments, memorable tournaments, huge games against the United States. Some of the greatest highlights we've ever seen. Not just the shams and the crossovers. Some of the passes that Dushan has thrown. Top 3 greatest passes we've ever seen in the game. In the game. His exit from the league it was controversial, and I think that's where the slights come. And the breakup with Novi Sad wasn't pretty. His teammates felt a certain way about it. So I think that when you talk to some of those people, it kind of skews his reputation, and as a byproduct, the conversation about GOAT. A lot of them now are saying it's Dejan. It's close, but I can't give it to the second best player on the team. it's got to be Dushan Bullet as the GOAT all time.
Let me get one more take in then, though. I understand everything you said, and I played against these fellas, and Dushan for sure was the tougher guard. He had the more swagger to him. He had all the things you just talked about. I would argue, though, that the game of 3x3 basketball, in the time that Dushan played competitively, let's say up until including 2019, was at a different stage of its evolution than it is now. I think the game has improved significantly. I think teams have gotten better, players have gotten better, and the highest level of 3x3 now is way more competitive and at a way higher level of competitiveness than when Dushan Bullet played in 2019, and Dejan Majstorovic still wins and is still one of the best players in the game. Even though the game has evolved, he's evolved with it. And I know he's not the best player on his team. I fully understand that. But again, the longevity and the fact that he's still able to do it at 36, he was still a part of all 5, I believe, and this is off the top of my head, but all 5 of Oob's World Tour wins this year. Without him, they don't win much.
Without Strahinja,
they don't win.
Dejan's not catching and shooting. Dejan really can't put it on the floor and create his own shot. He's a catch and shoot player. That's where he thrives. That's been his role on every team that he's played in. He needs a creator.
Facilitator.
Would you say he's hit some of the biggest shots in 3x3 history, though?
Oh, but he has.
Off a pass.
But most of them have been off of a handoff, off of a pass. But for me, in order to be the GOAT, we got to be able to give you the ball and you say, get the hell out of the way. I'm winning this game. Dushan could do it. Worthy can do it. Money in the bank could do it. He had that ability. I mean, he's not the greatest of all time discussion, but these type of players had the individual skill set to single-handedly, without a screen, without an extra pass, change a game.
Yep.
These guys become stars. So for me, that settles it. Michael Jordan, the competition in the 90s isn't what it is now. They said it was a bunch of bums, late 80s and late 90s. But do you think Mike's game would have translated to the current NBA? I think he still would be. I think he'd still be a good player. I think Dushan, in his prime, his game would still translate to the 3x3 now because he's cerebral. He's got mid-range game. He can shoot it. For me, I think his game translates. Period.
Now, Kyle, let me just get that, because again, I'm still the young buck, and you know how people can say, "Oh, you don't know." Yeah, I'm the last of Mohegans that's seen 90s, 2000 basketballs, a little bit of 80s basketball because they've had reruns. And you just said it, Bas. The league has changed, and it's supposed to evolve. It's supposed to get better. But who was in the genesis? Who was when this wasn't over $1 million they're giving away in prize money? Who's it when they didn't have over 13, 14 stops? Who was there? He was there. And as you said beautifully, I want this to be a soundbite. You don't want a bland brand. If you get a bland brand, who's going to want to taste that? Who's going to want to put that in their cup? Who's going to actually see what that is?
That is. Exactly.
What that is. No,
yes.
He added the flair. He added that spark, that special ingredient. Everybody talks about the X factor. Dushan, Mr. Bulletproof, had the X factor from the time he stepped on the court. And what other 3x3 player has a documentary about him?
Thank you. Case closed.
Worthy will have one soon.
Worthy will have one.
He will.
Are you saying Dejan Majstorovic is Chick-fil-A chicken?
No. I'm saying if Dushan Bullet didn't exist, then Dejan Majstorovic would be the greatest of all time.
All right.
Okay, but Dejan is largely a product of Dushan. You can't praise the butterfly and disrespect the caterpillar.
Ooh.
Okay. All right.
that was a bar.
Right, that was yes.
Dushan Bullet is the caterpillar. Make no mistakes about it.
Oh man, always hungry. Always hungry.
All right, gentlemen, man, that was a lot of fun, man. That was a lot of fun. Hey, social media is gonna go crazy over this one. Listen, guys, listening to the podcast, give us your feedback, give us your questions, give us your thoughts. We weren't able to get in the fan questions this week. We apologize, we went a little bit long, but next week, or in 2 weeks rather, we promise we're gonna get to your responses and some of your questions, hit us up at Word on the Streets. That's on Instagram. Replace the E's with 3s. That's how you find us, and that's how we get you involved in the show. So anxious to see what you guys have to say in response. I had a lot of fun, fellas. I can't wait for the next time because we're going to get into some really juicy 3x3 stories during our travels covering this league. So can't wait for that. That's coming up on the next pod in a couple of weeks, but that's going to do it for episode 2 of Word on the Streets. I'm the voice for the mountain, for the energy. We'll catch y'all next episode. Peace.